Welcome! Today we're going to be discussing one of the major problems we have with the world today, and that is global plastic ocean pollution. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it's all the way out in the ocean, there's pollution everywhere. What's the big deal? Well, it's a major, major problem, and it is affecting everyone globally, whether you realize it or not. So, as just a frame of reference, you will see like an image like this. Pretty much all throughout the ocean, there's little bits of debris and little pieces of garbage and plastics all throughout the whole ocean, whether you see it or not, especially the ones you can't see, like microplastics. Now, this is a Pacific Great Garbage Patch. This is a huge stretch of garbage that stretches far alongside the Pacific Ocean and deep within it, from between middle ground of like Hawaii and the United States. But there are several ones scattered throughout. But this one's the big one we're talking about over by the West Coast, just to give you a frame of reference. But this place is huge and is filled with the brim with all sorts of debris, such as so. Now, with this, like, it takes a huge, huge, massive land that is just like out here. So that little red circle right around here is like the center point of it all. And there's all those larger out circles here are just these massive outer sims of just garbage. But it can go super down towards several meters underwater to even tens of meters underwater, or it's just blocking out sunlight. And here is a radar map actually of like of a more condensed area of like all the debris and everything within the Pacific. Now, globally speaking, this is more affecting, like, that was just one scenario. There are patches just like it throughout every single ocean throughout the entire world. This is just one we're just focusing on right now. But they're just like each just like on the western side of the Pacific and the eastern side, and there's also in the north too. But there's also some stagnant areas all throughout the rest of the world, and even larger patches in other oceans. And see, the garbage patches, they just go everywhere. Just in almost every single ocean, there is a patch, whether you like it or not. And these things have massive implications on the global world. All the debris, all the garbage, all the pollution it creates, everything surrounding it, it's just causing nothing but just disaster globally for everyone. Poisoning watering, uh, damaging wildlife, and overall, it's just affecting the planet's health in general because it's all made from plastic. And now the life cycle of these things can last for hundreds of years, if not decades. And that's just a grand scheme because the polymer that is made up in most plastics is virtually non-combustible, it doesn't really decompose 100% well, but it takes a very, very long time. But there is one potential thing that can help us actually. There's this organization known as the Ocean Cleanup. It's a nonprofit organization based out from the Netherlands, and the founder and CEO is his name is Boyan Slat. And this was founded in 2013, but he aims to kill plastic pollution throughout the entire world, starting from collecting ocean within the vastness of the ocean and collecting garbage that is at the base of rivers, which it all comes flowing from in the first place of how it even gets there. Now, there are little side projects that he makes, like these ones right here, where they go in the mouth of rivers, they collect all the debris that goes downstream, heading towards the ocean, to stop the source of it all from coming forward. And then there is a great big nets like this one right here on the middle of the ocean, slowly scraping the surface of the water and collecting as many debris as possible. And then once you get these debris, they clump up together to bring the nets together to make these giant mesh pits where it's just filled with absolute garbage. And now they get hoisted up on a boat. That way they get out of the water and they can dump it on there, put it in bags, and take it for processing later. Now, this is one photo that we have from the ocean cleanup crew itself, from one of the many ships that they have throughout the company. And this is just like the nets when they dump it on there to sort all through the garbage, because they also have to find some animals that might be trapped in there as well. But it is a pretty good and conscious effort to take the battle globally for plastic pollution, because it's not just locally in the Pacific. No, it's worldwide. He's having these things everywhere, and worldwide he's having these docks in different countries, different river entrances throughout the entire globe, to hopefully one day tackle and clean up our oceans before it's too late. And so we can have a clean ocean once again. Now down to the bigger problem. Plastic pollution itself globally is a problem, but the breaking down of it over time, I mean, there is still plastic that is around since the 1950s and still here today. And this has to do with microplastics, because things do break down, but it's still, think of it as like particles of sand. They were once big pieces before, but when they were broken down over time, now there's these little tiny things that can even be microscopic even, and are still prevalent, whether you like it or not. Now this is a prime example right here where you would see in the water little bits and pieces of just like little debris you could possibly never imagine trying to get out. But some of them could even be as small stuff as your finger, and even smaller where it's on a microscopic level. And, well, if it gets to that level and the micro level, well, it's essentially going to get in everything from the water you drink to the food you eat. And it comes down from the long-term breaking down of those goods. So, like, the percentages, I would say, there is mostly, it's a bit of everything, but like pollution itself, car tires, every time you run the washing machine, those little fibers that go down the washing machine also go into the ocean, those little pieces of plastic, because your clothing is also made of partially plastic, but lots of other things as well. And they break down into tiny little microscopic pieces. They get eaten up by shrimp and then eaten up by fish, and then it goes up the food chain and ends up on our plate, whether you realize it or not, that the fish are mostly having more plastic than ever. And it's really going up the food chain where, like, you yourself already have plastic in your body. You already do. Whether you realize it or not, even if you've never eaten fish, it's still everywhere. From the water you drink to the food you eat, everything's contaminated. And this is a global issue because this can bring detrimental to your health and just overall poisoning yourself throughout the entire world globally. Every human is affected on it, and every animal is affected on it. I mean, for instance, it's just like these percentages right here are just like a sliver of what it really impacts in your life just from fish alone. But what else eats fish? A lot of other creatures eat fish. And what else happens? You know, lots of things could just keep on growing and growing and growing with the plastic, just keep going and going, because it gets to the point where you can get rid of the big pieces, but you can't get rid of the tiny, tiny ones. They are just so small and sometimes even microscopic that it gets absorbed into your body, and it's just, you can't get it out. You have probably about a percentage, about 2% plastic in your body, probably about right now. Right now you do. And that's scary to think about. But there are things that can be done with microplastics, even though it seems impossible. This man right here, named Finyan Finiardi, I'm butchering it, but he is he was a student based over in Ireland who figured out a way to use magnets to actually pull microplastics out of water to decontaminate it. And his method gets about 90%, if not 85%, just from the first treatment alone. And it is a good step because the previous steps were trying to genetically engineer bacteria that can grow and feed off plastic, but that wasn't really clear cut and 100%. So that was not really bigger. But like this, cleaning plastic manually with this could make a great impact on the world globally. Now this process goes by with like collecting nanoplastic with combining it with little bits of magnetic material, and then using that magnetic material to a larger magnet to pretty much like sift through the sand in a way. But this method is brilliant, and hopefully we can make this a scale match to where we can do the entire vastness of the ocean to potentially pull all plastic pollution from the oceans that can globally save everybody. And this right here is actually a prime example of it itself in the lab of when it was being conducted, thanks to the magnets. So that way we can clean up all this mess and make sure the global world is safe again. And that way we can fix the global problem with plastic pollution overall. because that is a major problem that we're having with the global system that we're having right now, is pollution itself from plastic. So that one day we can have a view like this again. And I know some parts of the world do look like this, but majority of the place, there's plastic and garbage everywhere within the water. So let's do our part and save our planet by contributing and coming up with more ways to combat plastic pollution. And this is why plastic pollution in the ocean is a major global impact. It's a global issue overall. Just we have to resolve as a responsibility as a species and the human race. Thank you for this presentation and have a good day.